Hello and welcome. I am Raziel as always, and now today I did mention in passing yesterday in my 2025 that it's looking good for wargaming that Mantic have obtained the IP for Assassin's Creed. Now, Mantic have done some great work with video game IPs onto the tabletop, be a board game like Worms, or of course the skirmish game Halo Flashpoint. Both games are a lot of fun to play, they're really cool, and they've really done the IP well with the way the models look. The Worms ones looks fantastic, and the Halo, Spartans look great too. And you can even use the Arbiters and the Covenant as well, and they do look really good. So they know how to transfer a video game onto the tabletop, and they know how to work it so it's more fun and how it's playable. One of my biggest fears about a Halo game was that there's a lack of factions. You've got the Covenant and you've got the Spartans. You could, of course, say, what about the Rebels from before Reach, or the splinter groups of Covenant post Halo 3? Well, you still basically got the two factions. Now, Assassin's Creed, again, kind of only has two factions. You've got the Assassins and the Templars. But, like I said, Mantic have shown how to make these fun games even with minimal factions. Now, first things first, I've got to say, it will probably be a board game. I don't know anything about board games. I don't play board games. So, I'm going to say what I think would be fun if it was a tabletop game, a skirmish game, which is what it would have to be given the small amount of figures that it would need, i.e. one assassin. Now, the best bit about Assassin's Creed is the timeline. It is a very long timeline, going from Odyssey all the way up to Victorian England. So I can't remember what it's called for Victorian England, but you've got ancient Egypt and you've got Victorian England. So you have this massive, massive timeline which to work in, which means assassins can have a lot of different models. The basic model for an assassin is, of course, the white hoodie and the sharp, pointy knives, which they have in their wrists. But of course they can use swords. Later editions means they can use pistols, spears, they can use other weapons. Now, I don't think they should go down the route, same with Halo, where you can pick up a weapon with a card. I think your assassin should be WYSIWYG. It should be what's on the assassin is what you can use. This also means, such as the assassin from Valhalla being able to use axes, the models will be represented with axes. Where if you want to use Ezio, of course he'll have his double wrist blades. Altair would have his single wrist blade. Connor would, of course, have his bow. And it also means that even though the basic uniform of an assassin remains the same throughout the timeline, you do get these variations from different cultures sneaking their little bits in. And it would be a nice little added detail and extra to the game, to the models, to see these little things. See, Ezio has a very Renaissance era assassin's uniform, whereas Connor still maintains a very American revolutionary style form of clothing. This works really well, means we can get a nice range of models for the assassins. The same goes for the Templars. The Templars have always changed their look to the time, so you could have crusading knights for going against Altair. You could have Renaissance guards going against Ezio. You could have British redcoats going against Connor, etc., etc. All of this could make the range of models actually really exciting to paint and collect. And one reason, like I said, I like skirmish games, it means I wouldn't have to buy a lot of them. I could buy a couple of boxes, play the game, and have fun painting a very few models, even though, I'm not a big fan of that part. So, that's what the models I would say would look like. They would be very varied to which timeline you're playing. The gameplay itself, what I would see happening, would be a very asymmetrical game. Now, those who play Judge Dredd and use judges knows how this feels, because these judges are OP. They really are. Judge Dredd in particular is one of the best characters in the game. But to beat him, you really do have to have a massive number of gangers to go up against him. It is literally one model versus 8. And I would say the same sort of thing with Assassin's Creed. However, when it comes to the Templars, you'd have like big heavy, such as the Crusading Knights, or just a simply easy ones, such as the Messengers that we would see go throughout. So the Templars would have different ranges of models, and unfortunately that does mean that the assassins would just have the assassins. It is a bit of a shame, but that is how the game would look, in my opinion. However, all the missions and objectives would be about the assassin, and they would be his or her missions, such as assassinate someone, or assassinate the enemy commander, assassinate a specific Templar, go for the Apple of Eden or one of the other artifacts, and then get back to their part of the board. Now, this would also mean that the assassin himself would have some of the best data sheets you could see. They would have the best weapon skill, best ballistic skill, best sneak. But to balance that out, that does mean that the Templars would have bigger numbers and probably better armor as well. So where they could get a killing strike, it's going to take very much a lot harder, but one assassin would be the same as 4 Templars. Now, when it comes to missions, like I said, it would be basically it would be an objective-based game. Assassinate, get item, stop messenger. All the sort of fun objectives you'd get usually in the Assassin's Creed startup, the tutorial period, as one might say. So that would be really fun. And so, finally, what would also be cool in the main rulebook, because of course when it comes to licenses, they do games companies such as Mantic do work and talk to the main company. Like Mantic will be talking with Ubisoft about creativity and what they can do with the lore. We could see a nice expansion on the lore, and with the way they can write a decent fantasy and a decent sci-fi, combining them together for Assassin's Creed, we might actually see some really cool lore reveals for the Assassin's Creed universe. And these would hopefully be canon because Ubisoft being involved as well. Now finally, what game would they be basing it off from the start? Now, I know this is going to be kind of controversial because, the Ezio trilogy to me is the best one. I know a lot of people like Black Flag. Assassin's Creed 3 gets, it's kind of a mixed opinion, but pretty much most after Assassin's Creed 4 tend to divide the player base. I like Odyssey, I've not played Valhalla, and I did play the British one, which was so boring I forget its name. I would say it would probably be after Black Flag, because that's when we start seeing pairs of assassins. So the assassin player wouldn't just get the one model, they would get 2. It might even be with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It might, have that one as the first one. I know with the controversy surrounding it, but honestly, that's besides the point. This is not it's not a video game channel, it's a wargaming channel, and we're talking about models and stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because you've got one very heavy assassin and one very light assassin, making it a bit more of a balanced game for the assassins, having to be able to choose between the two and which one can take more hits and which one can be more stealthy. And I think that would make the game a lot more fun from the start. And of course the Templars at the same point would be the same, either very heavy or very light. But that's what I would like to see happen. So that's my prediction, my hopes, whatever, for the new Assassin's Creed game for the tabletop, Mantic's Assassin's Creed. Like I said, they've done a very good job with Worms and that with Halo, so I have high hopes for Assassin's Creed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you all again soon, and have a great day. Of course, there's Whaling Games down below if you wish to save some money on your wargaming and etc. Up to 20% off, free delivery after £20, and with their point system you also get an extra 1% off, which is actually really cool, and I use it a lot, mostly to get free next day delivery. There's of course Forbidden Planet for your comics, DVDs, mangas. They have some Assassin's Creed books, and there is my comics and my merchandise, which, if you want to see Little Red Riding Hood, go Hamilton Cyborg, Lovecraftian Werewolves. Check it out. It's called Little Red and Raziel Wolfsbane. And there's also Skyforge. Don't forget Skyforge, good friend of mine. And finally, Patreon because business. Bye bye.